Hey, Tarek, you remember the last monster movie we saw?
I don't. Was it?
Godzilla.
Oh yeah, Godzilla.
And it just so happens that this movie is like part of what's called the MonsterVerse. And they're leading up to hopefully a King Kong versus Godzilla movie.
So that's not the Shin Godzilla, it's the 2014 one, right? Yeah.
Gareth Edwards directed. How are you feeling about this one?
I mean, I have not watched a single trailer, so...
Do you know who's in it?
No, I don't.
Well, it's got Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay.
Got Tom Hiddleston.
Okay.
And like a bunch of people you're gonna recognize. Be like, oh.
Oh, I've seen that face.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so there's some familiar, well-known actors in this movie. Okay.
To be perfectly honest, I was very on the fence with this movie when I like first heard about it. I'm like, because I was actually a fan of the Peter Jackson one with Jack Black. Even though people complain that it was way too long, I'm like, of course it's going to be long. There's a lot of things to tell. They had to do the tragedy with, the capture of King Kong, and they didn't want to, rush through that. So I thought it was a very well-made movie. And I think it's aged pretty nicely, given the effects and everything. Some of it's not convincing at all anymore, but, back then I remember seeing it in theaters with my dad, and, we were both horrified by the fucking pit scene, with all the...
Oh. Did you just watch it recently?
Yeah.
Okay.
In preparation for this one, because I don't really know if it's gonna be good.
I don't know.
I've heard good and bad things about it. Someone I trust, his name's Noah. He said that it was a really good movie and like it's not getting enough praise. I've also heard that it's kind of a shitty movie. So I mean, I really have no idea what the consensus of this movie is.
I thought it had a good rating somewhere. Not Rotten Tomatoes, but somewhere else.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I know Chris Stuckman didn't really like it, but again, they're YouTube critics are people too. We disagree all the time. Jeremy Johns fucking loved Suicide Squad, so take that for what you will. It's just an opinion. But King Kong is my favorite monster. Like, he's my favorite movie monster.
Godzilla's not your favorite though?
Like, I like the concept of Godzilla. I can never sit through a goddamn Godzilla movie, apparently, even though I did kind of like the 2014 one. Like, that one got a lot of flack that I don't really think it needed.
It was better than the 98 one, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that one, like, I can't even enjoy on, like, a superficial so bad it's good level. It's just awful in every way. And I know there's fans of that movie, but... even you can kind of be like, yeah, it's kind of a shitty movie, and I only like it because I like shitty movies.
I mean, doesn't like every bad movie have some kind of following or fans? But...
I don't know.
Anyway.
It's quite early in the morning for me to be reviewing movies.
Yeah.
Tarek's got something to do later today, so I think that's enough bumming out, for a few minutes. Let's go see some King Kong.
All right, so Kong Skull Island. Overall, what'd you think?
Overall, I would say keep your expectations pretty low. Like, especially those of us like me, King Kong lovers, huge King Kong fans. Don't go to this movie thinking it's going to hold a candle to any pre-existing King Kong movie. I mean, that's not to say the movie's bad by any means. I'll talk more about that in a second, but you've seen the legendary, iconic movies of the past. This ain't one of them. This is not.
Expect like a summer blockbuster kind of movie that doesn't require much thought, and you can just sit down and enjoy it.
Yeah, so. It's the kind of movie you'll watch and realize, oh wow, this popcorn tastes really good.
It's in a way, I almost want to say it's like Independence Day, but this is better, honestly, because at least this had some entertaining moments while Independence Day was just boring throughout.
Oh, you mean Resurgence?
Yeah, Resurgence. Yeah. Independence Day Resurgence.
Well, at least this movie has some sort of charisma, whereas that one just felt like a flaccid dick in my face.
Right.
Starting off with some positives, because, I mean, I got a lot to talk about with negatives. Keeping everything as spoiler-free as I can for the moment. You know, Kong, he's fucking cool. He's massive. I don't think he's ever I don't think he's ever been this big on a movie screen before.
He looks pretty good too. I mean, obviously you can tell all of it's pretty much CGI, but
there's a lot of detail. You know, like his gorilla fur and all the wounds on him and his nose and everything. There's just a lot of detail to that, and I love his roar. It's fucking glorious. I love King Kong so much. And when the fights are going down, he's beating the shit out of a ton of creatures and everything. It's just because I like that. It's not what makes the movie good. I just like seeing a big, terrifying ape monster, duke it out. And sometimes that's just all I need.
Yeah, I mean, that you'll get plenty of that. Like if one of your complaints with Godzilla 2014 was you didn't see enough Godzilla in this movie, I think you'll definitely see enough of King Kong to like fully satisfy them. So
another compliment I can give the movie, it's at least entertaining. I will say that. You're never bored throughout the movie. There's always something interesting happening on screen. Even if it's fantastically stupid, you're still like, okay, I can get behind this. I mean, there's just it's a nice, disposable, entertaining movie.
It's entertaining. If you want to see Kong, you'll definitely see Kong.
Keep your expectations low. I think there's enough for a casual moviegoer to really enjoy this movie a lot more than probably I did. And I think that's a better segue into
the negatives.
The negatives. Okay. Do you want to start this one off?
I mean, I got one in particular in mind that I was thinking about. Some of the jokes in this movie. Calling them jokes.
I mean, they're more like the writers thought they were jokes, and the actors were reading their lines. And it just didn't translate as a joke.
Like, the actors were probably thinking, like, this isn't really that funny, but, like, we'll just say it anyway.
And the director's like, no, I don't think it was CGI. It's like, that doesn't make sense. It's a joke. I don't think it was CGI. A lot of times it feels like these actors are just reading lines. They all do a fine performance, I think. They're all talented actors. It's just that they're not given characters to really work with. Like, they don't know what their character is supposed to be. And I don't know whether to blame the script. I don't know whether to blame the director or if they're just thinking, oh, Kong, this is cool. I can just make some money and get a paycheck, all the actors and everything. It's just all the characters are just reading lines. And, I mean, that sucks to say when you have a really emotive personality like Tom Hiddleston and Samuel L. Jackson and they're just reading lines.
True. I mean, you even mentioned earlier, this kind of off topic, but, like, they say they're one F word and they don't give it to Samuel L. Jackson.
See, but they do eventually in the movie. He said, die, motherfucker, and he dies before he can finish it. And I'm like, that's so stupid. Just let him say it. Like, we know what he's saying. Just let him say it.
They got to have that PG-13 market, So.
I mean, motherfucker, you could have had a PG-13 rating with that.
But they would have cut out to the other F-bomb.
There's blue blood in this movie, with all the birds. It's not going to get an R rating by any means.
I don't know, that's the MPAA, I think it's called, and Hollywood itself. That's a whole nother topic. So,
they're trying to set up, this, whole MonsterVerse and everything, and I can get by it. I really can. I can see a world of monsters and everything, and I think it could work. The only way it could work is if you give each different monster its own culture for a film, but like trying to connect the pieces, especially with Godzilla. It doesn't work as well as it would hope it could. There's even an end credit scene. It's trying to be like what every studio's doing now, the shared universe, which, of course, it's a good business tactic. You make movies and you get people hyped for more movies. Marvel really did a solid job with it. People are upset. This MonsterVerse is like, oh, they're just trying to copy Marvel. I'm going to say something that'll piss all of you off. I guarantee it. I'm more looking forward to the MonsterVerse than I ever did with The Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, really?
Yeah. After the first Amazing Spider-Man, I'm like, I don't want to see where this character goes. I'm looking to see King Kong and Godzilla beat the shit out of each other.
At least that would be entertaining.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing where other monsters come into play. However, the only way it's going to work for me is if, like, perhaps there's a Mummy movie and it's set in Egypt, or there's a Kraken movie and it's like, pirates and everything.
Yeah.
It has to be its own style. It can't be like Marvel where everything feels like the same kind of movie.
Yeah.
Otherwise, no one's just gonna bother.
I think I see what you're getting at.
Getting back to some of the characters, they're really not given a character to work with.
I mean, I think a few have.
I mean, they have
some
quirks.
traits.
They have quirks. They have they're given qualities about them that we're just supposed to accept without really being shown it.
Mm-hmm.
For example, there's a man that was stranded on an island, for 28 years, and his only character is, I'm stranded on this island.
I'm stranded, and I'm gonna make a few jokes about not knowing what's going on with the rest of the world and stuff. So.
And I'm happy that the filmmakers tried to have that fun moment where he's like, the Cubs haven't won the World Series. Oh, World War II's over.
Yeah.
But he speaks perfect English. He's been stranded on this island for 28 years. I mean, there's not a lick of insanity to him. He talks like I do now. When you're in isolation that much, he's with a tribe of people that don't fucking talk. You might as well be in isolation. You would lose your goddamn mind.
True.
Especially, with all these creatures and everything. He's so unhinged, and to everything around him.
I mean, he's aware of what's going on the island. It's just that it's kind of a weird complaint, but I guess he wasn't weird enough. For someone who's
if you're gonna have a character like that, just fucking go for it. Don't hold back. And I feel like that's what a lot of these actors were really trying to do. They were trying to be like, ooh, if we're too over the top, we might win a Razzie like Jesse Eisenberg in Batman versus Superman.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't have characters like that be restrained. It's fucking King Kong. Just go ape shit, dude.
Nice.
Ha! I could come up with quality things to say.
Yeah, you can.
The only character I think that is given a shred of character is Samuel L. Jackson's character.
Right.
Because he starts out and he's just he's a soldier and everything. During the movie he changes no, we have to take out King Kong. He killed my men and everything. His motivations, however, aren't earned. The only thing I could see them trying to do is saying, because he was involved in Vietnam and they abandoned the war there. Everyone's, upset, America lost the war in Vietnam. He's like, we're not losing this war. And that's the only way I could see that working, but the film doesn't exploit it enough.
Sure. It's something you got to think about, but then again, this movie doesn't require you to think.
Yeah,
so.
it's not a thinking person's movie. You're just supposed to sit back, watch it, and enjoy it. You can't, and if you're good at doing that, good job. You will enjoy the shit out of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But when you really think about the things deeply, they just don't work.
Right.
Talking about the things that are just not earned in this movie, there's a relationship build with the women, photographer and King Kong. It's so not needed in this movie at all.
I mean, it's barely there.
It's barely there. You could have just not had it. It's not the sort of King Kong where he's, poetically, trying to, get to the, top of the Empire State Building and get shot down. That's not the King Kong they're setting up, so don't give him a romance with a woman. That's the only reason that works, is because it was so bizarre.
I mean,
it was so thought-provoking. This isn't that King Kong.
I mean, it was more like a friendship and rather than a relationship, because
she held her hand up to his fucking nose. He's like, he was rock hard, Tarek.
I mean, wouldn't you be if she?
I mean.
Anyway, but I mean, he just kind of protected her from this other creature that was obviously trying to attack her, and then just kind of set her down.
I mean, they're trying to brew a romance there and everything, a relationship there, and I just don't buy it. I think Peter Jackson's King Kong really did it perfectly. Introducing their relationship, and she's offered up as a sacrifice to King Kong, and she's panicking and everything, and he's just trying to comfort her, because he has it, and she's freaking the fuck out. And as the movie goes on, they really grow attached to each other, and you buy that. Here, you don't at all. Because, King Kong sees these people as people invading my home. They're just bombing the shit out of it. There's no difference between the people and, just weapons.
Yeah.
So when he looks her in the eyes and immediately just connects to her, it doesn't work. Not when you have this savage monster introduced this way. There's no quality like that about him. And I think the only reason they included it was because they thought, oh, King Kong obligatory, people are going to be upset. Because the King Kong they're trying to introduce in this MonsterVerse isn't the same King Kong that we see, in the classic iconic movies of the past. This is a new King Kong. Just let him be new. You don't have to have this obligatory checklist where, yeah, he has to have a woman. He has to, have a relationship with a human woman. You don't need that here. If you're going to have a new monster, make him a new monster. Maybe in a sequel, establish that and then have him tragically fall and everything. But don't have it in this movie. It's not needed. Because this movie works as just a mindless, getting off the island, escapist movie.
I see what you mean.
And I mean, I gotta talk about some of the CGI in here. While I think Kong looks fucking glorious and I love the shit out of every time he's on screen, unfortunately a lot of the other creatures on the island don't really look convincing to me. And some of the environments don't either. Maybe it's because I'm spoiled with the Jungle Book, but it looks like they're trying to do the same photorealistic CGI as the Jungle Book, and it just didn't fully render or something. And I just don't buy it. And I'm taken out of the movie a little bit, and it's just disappointing to see that. CGI and the production values are something that shouldn't be a problem with today, because, Warner Brothers can afford fucking anything.
Sure. I mean, I'm sure just the model artists spent their most time and their most effort on King Kong. So.
It just seems like they didn't have enough time to really, make the other creatures look as believable as Kong, but at least Kong looks good. I can live with that. I love the Kong you've given me. So good job, but you suck.
All right, so we went over the CGI, some of the character quirks. Anything else you've got on your chest that you want to?
Especially what Tarek said, some of the writing, it just doesn't work. Especially, when events are happening. There's a scene where they're flying helicopters into a storm. And, it could be a really tense scene. You could be on the edge of your seat. You're not that. The tension is lost because you have Samuel L. Jackson, cheesily saying, like, remember Icarus? He flew too close to the sun and he got stricken down when he got too close. The U.S. Navy is trying to be badass and everything. It just doesn't work.
Or like when Kong has the helicopter and the guy is like dangling onto his wife, and then he falls and he's getting eaten, and it cuts to like a guy eating a sandwich for like no reason.
Yeah, transitions like that just are bad. And that was something I could have praised with this movie, because I mean, it's what Suicide Squad in particular could have been when it's introducing all these characters. There's really nice transitions. There's lighting in this Hong Kong or Taiwanese like lounge area. There's this flash of light and it cuts to like a picture taken a grab, and it's really seamless, and I really like that. But as the movie goes on, the transitions become really, really, really not good.
Okay. And
yeah, just like a lot of quips and stuff are really not needed in the moment, and they really kind of just break the tension from it. They're in the graveyard, and the fucking guy who's been stranded there, he's like, they're all trying to be really quiet and everything. He's like, I knew this was happening. This was a bad idea. Like, shut up. You're trying to hide. Shut up.
yeah. Oh, it was like, okay, when they were in the graveyard with all the...
Yeah.
Then there was like this toxic gas and like...
Yeah, they have toxic gas for some reason. I don't know why they brought... it's just labeled as toxic gas, Is it just like... I don't know what it is, but like they set it gets set off, and they establish that they need gas masks. Tom Hiddleston character puts on a gas mask, but then like a minute later, they're all like, oh, the monster's been defeated, and they're all breathing heavy. Well, gas is fucking around.
And there's a part where like after he puts it on, he gets like a sword and he's like chopping.
Yeah, I swear it's just straight from 300.
Like it's literally like zoom in, zoom out in like slow motion, and then like they speed it up, and it's... I was like, am I watching 300 now?
I thought Warner Brothers was supposed to, grow away from Zack Snyder, everything, fan outcry and everything. They're trying to, not work with him anymore. But here they're going to do shit like this. Zack Snyder's like, ooh, I did it better. I did it better in my movie 300.
I did that years ago, man.
I was a pioneer. Watch my Justice League.
Yeah, no Justice League trailer, though. But
yeah, Warner Brothers, what the fuck? Come on!
They're not Fox,
It doesn't even have to be, like, right at the beginning, but, like, at least give us something for Justice League. I can see all the photos released all I want. Just give me something. The Comic-Con, test footage that you assembled together does not count as a trailer. Give us a Justice League trailer. You had Kong Skull Island, Warner Brothers, to release it. There's no reason not to at this point. I know you don't want to overmarket, and take away from Wonder Woman, but it's getting time. I need to see something.
Mm-hmm. When's Wonder Woman coming out?
June.
June?
And
Okay.
it looks fucking glorious, dude.
Okay.
I'm excited as fuck.
All right, I'm ready. But first, we've got a few other movies before that.
And before those few other movies, I think to put this movie to rest, let's go ahead and rate this.
Yeah. Kong Skull Island. So, I think I'll finish this off with actually a 7 out of 10 because it's a low rental. So, I don't say I completely regret seeing it at all. It had some entertaining moments. So, if you want to go see it, I go see it.
Yeah. To be perfectly honest, this movie would have been a 6 without some of the fantastic, scenes with Kong. And I will say they are quite, enjoyable. They are quite good. Especially when he's duking it out with all the other creatures. It's really entertaining. In my opinion, it makes up for some of the weaker moments of the film. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10, not because I think it's disappointing. It's actually, just where I thought it would be with me. It's just a perfectly average, enjoyable popcorn flick. Don't think of anything more than that. Don't expect anything more than that. None of the trailers would have assumed that, like, oh, this is going to be the definitive King Kong movie. Fuck out of here with that, dude. So, with our consensus of 7 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 7 out of 10, it's going to get a low Redbox rental, but I would highly recommend you check it out when it does come out on Redbox. See it for yourself in theaters. I think some of the effects might look better on, your DVD and Blu-ray than it does on the big screen where everything's, not quite up to standard, I would say, with CGI, but it might look better on a smaller screen. So, thank you so much for watching the next review. I don't know what it's going to be. I really want to see Beauty and the Beast. I know Tarek hopefully does. He just doesn't look like he's really into Disney's live-action remakes. But at least
Totally looking forward to it.
At least he has seen the animated Beauty and the Beast, where he hadn't seen the animated Jungle Book.
I still haven't seen Jungle Book to this day. Yeah, I'm sorry. But yeah, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for some more movie reviews and subscribe to Ludicrous Shows.
Yeah,
as well.
I'll put a little thing up right here. I figured out how YouTube works now. You can click that fucker right there. Give my buddy Tarek some love. He's growing better than I could have ever hoped for, and I'm really proud of my